So, what are you guys up to today in 2011, 2012?
Well, we have our studio, Audio Vision Studios in Miami, which is actually just down the street from what used to be Criteria. It's about, we're on 134th in West Dixie, and Criteria was on 149th in West Dixie. We do actually, we've evolved into pretty much a hip-hop community, which seems to be the most what's selling these days. So we've been working a lot with EMI Publishing, and we have writers in here that are doing doing tracks and recording tracks for a plethora of people like
Flo Rida
and Beyonce and the likes of that.
Miami has shifted from the rock and roll mecca that it once was to the epicenter for hip hop production, and we're very fortunate to be one of the three hip hop facilities that all the writer producers kind of congregate around. So our studio is booked out mostly by the writers and producers that are making all the great records of today. Me personally, Howard and I have, our production company continues on. We're for hire. If anybody needs to hire producers, we just finished. One of people that you're familiar with, that's a good friend of yours, Chris Hillman, asked us last year to go back and do a compilation record of the Flying Burrito Brothers live at the Fillmore, which is a great project. That was that particular version of the Flying Burrito Brothers was with Rick Roberts from Firefall, of course. We've had tremendous history, and Bernie Leadon from the Eagles, and that kind of thing. It's a great record, demonstrating time stamping that time and place. And we just did a band from New Orleans that is kind of an interesting band. They're sort of an acoustic, electric, bluesy kind of.
Been around a long time.
Yeah, called the Subdudes. The Subdudes band. We produced their last record. It's a great record, and we are in ongoing production, as you might imagine, with our close dear friend and mentor for all these years, Stephen Stills. And we continue doing the Stephen Stills, Crosby, Stills, and Nash stuff of the future, we hope, and on and on.
And a lot of fishing.
We're very fortunate to live in South Florida, where we grew up, and we've got our boat, and we do what we love to do, which is go out in the Atlantic Ocean and catch big fish, and that's. It's an amazing thing. We've always had this balance between the recording business and the fishing, because making records is an indoor activity for the most part, and fishing is an outdoor activity.
Again, that goes back to when Tom Dowd and Jerry Wexler came down. It's the same thing. They liked to fish, and we all went together. So we got a bond going there. It was pretty good. So it brought us all together pretty much to where we are today.
When Tom and Jerry used to bring down artists, we always used to, part of that environment was when they were here in Miami, we would all go out fishing, whether it was, a recording session or just a meeting. That part of that would always be on the boat. So we continue that.
Before we break up, let me ask you a quick question. Cindy Johnson used to live, her grandmother used to live right next door to me in North Miami. And she and her partner Jerry,
right,
put together this company called Home at Last. Kind of tell me what the company did for the bands.
What it did was it gave the bands a place to stay where they didn't have to stay in a hotel, where they got really personal treatment. They had chefs that would cook food for them, and they could either eat at the house, they'd bring it to the studio. It was like being home. They got just really super, personal valet service treatment, but very, very friendly. The girls were great at that. They made everybody feel good. It was. We bought a house actually to start. That's how it started. Criteria bought a house put Cindy and Jerry in there and you know, had them take care of it and you know, do that whole thing. And then later on, as we had more and more groups that were taking advantage of it, we had to have more houses. So that's how 461 came about. Is that was a rental home. It was one of the houses that we rented. So
461 Ocean Boulevard is actually the address of the house.
It's on Golden Beach.
On Golden Beach, yeah. And the album cover, if you look at the cover, is shot from the ocean perspective. It's looking up the beach to the house. When you drive by the house, that's not the front of the house. It's
it's not even the house anymore because they knocked it down. Somebody bought it and totally leveled it, put a new big, unbelievable house there.
Yeah, a mega mansion.
Yeah.
But that was Cindy and Jerry's. They built the format to make the rock and rollers of the time have this, as Howard called it, this personal concierge service. It was a phenomenal idea. It worked. It was amazing.